act to follow. So I wanted to give everybody a brief update about the marijuana revenue. I know there's been a lot of talk around the revenue and how it can be used. So I wanted to kind of give some clarification and hopefully kind of go through the process. I'm so sorry, Sue Carmel, Finance Director. At the annual town meeting in May of 2018, the town adopted the law allowing the town to collect the 3% options tax on the sale of recreational marijuana. As everyone is aware, our first retail establishment opened in January of 2019. During the second half of the fiscal year, fiscal 2019, which would have been January to June 30th, we received approximately $271,000 from the state. In accordance with the Department of Revenue, this money is considered general fund revenue, and it's what is labeled as local receipts. Very similar to departmental revenue, such as license and permits, birth certificates, the local option taxes for the meals, and the hotel and motel revenue. All of the general fund revenue must close out to free cash at the end of the fiscal year. So therefore, that $271,000 that we collected will end up being utilized during the fiscal 2021 budget process in the spring. Money that we are currently taking in during this fiscal year, again, will go through the same process next year, close on June 30th of 2020, and will be available for the fiscal 2022 budget process. That's my update. I'm happy to take any questions.
There are a lot of people who think that the marijuana revenues will be specially earmarked so that we could take a vote on what we want to do, and I've repeated what Ed has said, which is goes into general funds. Is it possible for us to get the last couple of years revenues from these sources like restaurants, hotels, and so forth? That's not usually provided in the budget process, I recall, unless you ask for it, but it would be very helpful for people to understand where this money is coming from, what goes in the general funds, so that we can see what the offsets are to our costs.
Chairman, I've asked either for the Finance Committee or Select Board meeting to have that discussion, so we will do that, because I think it's important. Anyone else? Thank you very much.
I guess I do have something else.
Okay, hold on.
Is it still on?
No,
Sorry, Sue, you were on your way out. So the number that you're talking about specifically is the state and not the community impact fees.
That is correct.
So those community impact fees, I'm assuming when we're working them in, it would be the same what we receive in FY19 would be used in an FY21 budget, and the same with the FY20 and then the 22, and that isn't necessarily general fund, or is that general fund as well?
That is general fund as well, but there are more restrictions placed on the use of that money.
Right.
And one of the things I
Right.
didn't state was when it does roll into free cash, it is required to have a vote at town meeting to use any money out of free cash. So it would be brought forward before town meeting.
Okay, so I guess my question is, because that is a little bit more, I mean, I realize it's not earmarked in any way, that's like probably more of a technical term, but it does have, the community impact fee has a kind of specific goal in mind, which is offsetting the impact of marijuana in our community. Is there, I mean, I'm wondering the best way for, whether it's the board or the budget process or some way for us to have input on how that is being allocated. I'm not know if I'm being clear.
I think that conversation will play out during the budget process, but we're just not quite there yet. But, you know, I think we'll have an in-depth conversation about how to use the general fund revenue and the community impact fees separately during that, in the next couple of months.
Okay.
Do you have any more to add to that, Sue?
No.
Thank you, Sue.